I've been a troublemaker, I've been a late-night player, I've been broke as a joke, I've been a money maker, I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk, we gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gon' act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger just a little.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this July 18th. The little rainy cool down before the heat storm that will be hitting us this weekend.
Yeah, 100 plus.
Real-time temps could reach 100 or more. So watch
Friday, Saturday,
out.
Sunday, it could be the worst heat wave we've had in quite a while.
Bethel Summerfest this weekend is up in the air with the temperatures. They might not be able to accommodate all that heat out there, so we'll have to keep our eye on that as the music comes blaring through. Hey, let's tip our hats to Fatty Roots anytime we can. But anyways, we are here. We're in studio, back after a few weeks off, July 4th, and then work on the way last week, so we're back here now. Phone line is already open, 203-792-4101, as I'm getting the message right now from the Met Maniac. Guess what, Bob?
He's stuck in traffic.
Rain and traffic.
Yeah.
Bad combination, so he will not be with us again. But let's say hello to our right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr.
Hello, Scott. I missed you for the last couple of weeks.
I know, Bob. Been a while. How's things been going?
Been going good, you know. Just since being at Citi Field.
That's right. You got to see that
reunion.
Yeah.
For 50 years.
How was that?
It was great.
Good day that was. Did they win that day?
No.
Well,
it rained.
You can't have. It rained and they lost.
Yeah.
You can't have everything, Bob.
Hey, I'll tell you what. It was good seeing guys that I idolized as a kid.
Right.
Of course, now they're much older, unfortunately.
That's okay. Did they finally announce they're going to put a
statue of receiver?
Statue of Tom Terrific is going up, right?
Yeah. It was funny. Ron Swoboda goes. He says we're sitting on. We were coming home from the Expo game, right? Mm-hmm. They're flying in, right? So they get stuck at the airport where they made the layover. Mm-hmm. And he says we had nothing to do. So it's 12 o'clock midnight, and what are we doing? We're sitting there watching like everybody else at that time, watching them land on the moon.
Oh, the moon landing. So that coincided, the anniversary of the 69 Mets coincides with the moon landing, which that anniversary is this week?
Yeah, this Saturday.
Saturday.
50 years ago. Where were you 50 years ago?
I was a year away from, I shouldn't give away my age, but I wasn't quite here yet. Missed it by a year.
I was 6. I was sitting there watching with my parents on a black and white TV.
It was quite an event, of course. Bob's show Spotlight On, speaking of course, is on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. I see you got the Celebrity Breakfast Part 2.
Yes, up and running.
Airing this week.
Yes.
And so part 1 already aired. That covered the first half, but the second half is Mick the Quick mostly.
Yes.
As he wasn't so quick with the speech.
No, he
had to cut some down.
He kind of it goes in and out. Unfortunately, we can't do nothing about typographical error.
Right. We had some issues with him staying in front of the microphone.
We need a wider microphone.
Right. Bob's daughter Jenna is here running audio. She's taken over for our on summer break Tyler, and of course the El Diablo. That'd be somebody else. The El Diablo darkness director David Suero, DJ Malo in there. What's he saying? He's directing the show, and that's at 203-792-4101 is the number if you want to call in. I mentioned the weather. It is going to be scorching hot this weekend. If you look at the map all around the country, really, it is hot. There's been heat waves all through Europe this summer, and I mentioned around the country because our Joe Jet Met, speaking of Met Maniacs, our longtime caller, occasional caller, He's in Colorado right now, which is scorching hot, upper 90s, with his son, who is leading the U12 Premier League team that won the Connecticut Cup into the national tournament. They're playing for the national title in Colorado from Connecticut.
Good luck to them.
They all landed, I think, yesterday. Not sure what the schedule of the games is, but I'm sure they'll be going at it fast and furious over the next few days through the weekend, see if they can win it. So good luck to them. Most of those kids, it's not a Bethel-specific team, but a lot of them are from that Bethel area, seem to be in this southwest corner on this particular team. I think there's a second team from Connecticut there as well. But yeah, his son's actually quite good. And Joe was a former All-State scholarship player, actually tried out for the Olympic team at one point, led Bethel to a state championship.
Is he a pitcher or is he a...
Well, it's soccer. He was the goaltender. Oh. Joe was all-world goaltender, also all-world track, set a lot of records in track. So the lineage is there, and his son is picking up on it, and of course his mother is Argentinian, so she has soccer in her blood.
Yeah, he's already
This team also went to Portugal this summer for and competed very well.
Hey,
beat a team from Italy in their tournament out there. So we'll see some good talent.
That's a great way to spend your summer.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I just wanted to mention that, but stay cool, everybody out there.
Please,
stay hydrated.
Yes, that's the main thing from the fire department, and please stay hydrated because we
got to get the fluids going.
We don't have to want to pull up with the ambulance and have to take you to the hospital because of.
Wonder how the Westerners will do. Are they home this weekend?
We're home on Saturday, which is NASA night and Star Wars night.
It's NASA and Star Wars?
Yes.
Nice, they're mixing the two. That'll be good, but it is going to be hot out there. Maybe the Westerners can get a W. So, you know, when we left here last time, Bob, they were on their way to a 12-4 start.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we did our about face.
Yipes! 3-13 since, falling to 15-17. Wow, fourth place, from first place to fourth place.
And about 12 games left to play in the season.
Only 12 to go. They're in fourth place, which I believe is a playoff spot, or actually is in only the top three.
It's top three make the playoffs.
So they changed that. That's right. Yes. Last year it got changed up. I forgot about that.
I've also heard some new news as of the other night when I was talking with the commissioner. Starting next year, they want to go to they want to have all games be 7 innings.
So I know they played one recently that was a 7-inning game, and they had rallied, and because it was a shortened game, they couldn't finish off the rally.
The one that went 9 innings.
We got a bunch of the headlines here from the last few weeks, and really just kind of brutal that they could lose 8 in a row after going 12-4.
The one game where we lost 18-9 lasted 3 hours.
Ouch.
And the one inning lasted almost an hour in itself.
That reminds me of the games that I did the PA.
Yeah, the one game you did, it went 14 innings. And
jeez. So the standings has Martha's Vineyard, the Sharks, first year in the league in first place.
They were like 9-game wins, and all of a sudden they have a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah, so they've gone on the win streak, 19-12.
Yeah.
Newport Gulls, 18-14. The third place team, which is the one to watch right now, Mystic Schooners, 17-14. So Westerners are 3 out of in the loss column to the Schooners and to Newport to try to get into that playoff spot.
Mystic tonight when we were rained out, and so that game will be made up on the 29th.
After the 8-game losing streak, they won 3 out of 2, but then they lost 1 and then lost a doubleheader at New Bedford yesterday, 4-3 and 7-4. So now they're back on a 3-game losing streak. So just really rough business.
It's basically due to the pitching.
Well, they've blown a couple big leads late. Gave up 8 runs in the 9th one game, 10 runs in an inning. You know, that's just not going to be good for you. And it really just came unhinged quick. I mean, they were flying so high.
Yeah.
But we'll see if they can piece together. And, you know, we talked about it at the beginning of the season, the streaks.
Yes.
You know, and this year it looked like they were going to avoid that because they started hot, then they had like a 3-game losing streak, and then they got hot again, and it seemed like they were just going to be a good team, and then all of a sudden you lose 8 in a row. And it's just, you can't, in a season like this, you can't have that sort of thing and overcome
and
it.
this being our 25th anniversary season.
Right, and the first anniversary got rained out.
So now that'll be next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Which means I won't be here unless it rains.
Unless it rains again. You
Yeah.
were supposed to be at the park tonight, but rained out.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with them. All right, we got, and that, right there's the shot. They were on fire. 12-4 at that point. Is the sky the limit? Well, looks like more like the basement.
The sky opened up and
caved in.
Yeah.
Speaking of baseball, day baseball today, Red Sox beat Toronto 5-0. Chris Sale, how about this? He had gone 13 straight starts at Fenway Park without a victory before today.
Right.
That is unbelievable that it took him 13 starts in a row to get a victory, and he did it today in pretty good style. 12 strikeouts over 6 shutout innings. We got some pictures here of the debacle that took place in London the other week.
Now, you and I talked before the start of the show.
It is July 18th,
now,
almost to the end of July.
And we haven't seen the Red Sox and Yankees play at Fenway yet.
Not at Fenway yet.
So why? Why is this? I mean,
well, we had to play 2 games over across the pond in London. Those are the Red Sox 2 home games.
Right.
There's been 2. One was a rain shortened, so they've only played, I think, 5 games in New York.
Right.
Because there wasn't a traditional, I don't think they've gotten 2 3-game series in. So 2 series in New York,
Right.
1 series in London. It's going to be August before they play at Fenway.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. The schedule for the Red Sox this year has been hard.
I don't think they've ever gone like this, because it used to be the Red Sox Yankees would start the season, basically within the first week of the season, and then next week,
I don't know. You talk to the schedule. You've been on the show long enough to know, Bob, that I pay attention to the schedule.
And the schedule doesn't look like.
And I'd never liked the schedule. This particular schedule, specifically for the defending champion, World Series winning Red Sox, has been an absolute atrocity. What has taken place with the schedule, but their bullpen is also an absolute atrocity.
Hey, what's the difference between the Mets and the?
Well, I mean, the Red Sox at least somehow find themselves at 53-44.
Yeah.
Which has them behind Tampa Bay, behind Cleveland, behind Oakland. So there's 3 teams in front of them for the wild card.
Right.
And not to mention the Yankees running away at 16-33. Yankees playing right now against Tampa in a doubleheader. They're up 5-2 in the 6th.
What happened to Buck's Birds this year? I mean,
he's not even the manager. He's been fired. The Orioles are, they're trying to do the Astros blueprint, and they have a lot of former people from the Astros organization. So baseball insiders say the Orioles are actually on the right track to turn it around. But it'll take a couple more years before that happens. And then, so you got the Twins, who just came off losing 2 straight to your Mets. Mets won 4 in a row. Twins are 58-36 ahead of Cleveland, 54-40. Houston, 60-37. We mentioned the Athletics, 55-41. Texas, 50-46. How about the Angels in that combined no-hitter in the night where they paid tribute to their young pitcher who just passed away? There hasn't been no explanation yet for how he died.
Nobody has said anything about exactly what happened.
But that was unbelievable. No-hitter on the night that they paid tribute to him. Very moving situation out there in, where do they play, Anaheim or Los Angeles, or I don't know where they play anymore. So in the National League, Brewers 58-39, or Braves, 58-39. Nationals have moved ahead of the Phillies, who beat the Dodgers today. Nationals 15-44. Phillies. That game against the Dodgers aired on YouTube.
Which I never seen on YouTube.
Well, we've seen some games air on Facebook over the last year and a half. Now YouTube had it going today. Phillies 15-47. Your Mets winning 4 in a row, still 7 below 500, 44-51. They're trying to trade Wheeler and maybe Syndergaard, but Wheeler got hurt.
So
can they trade Cano? with that contract.
Can you throw Cohen with Wheeler and a few other
Get rid of that
names?
contract. That was the most ridiculous trade to bring him in. But that was one of their worst moves ever, Bob.
Yeah.
Really terrible. Cubs
other
at
than,
52 and 44 in the Central. So do you think let's stay on your Mets for a minute. You think they should trade some of these guys?
Yeah,
I
why
mean,
not?
Wheeler you wouldn't care about so much, but Syndergaard, do you think?
I wouldn't trade Syndergaard. I wouldn't trade the top three.
What did you think about your boy winning the home run derby?
Oh, that was great. That was about that was the highlight of the whole season.
And he took down Vlad the Impaler Jr., Guerrero, who had a record-breaking night as well. In the year of the home run, in the last couple of years, I mean, home runs are back.
Right.
I mean, the thing that people forget is that the steroid era happened on the heels of the juiced ball era.
And now they're talking
And
about
that
the
which
ball
also
being
took
juiced
place
again.
on the first it was they built the home run friendly ballparks,
Right.
Camden Yards, most recently Yankee Stadium.
Right.
But that was a trend. They also juiced the baseball at that time. That was a big talk in the early mid 90s. They even had an ad campaign that said "Chicks dig the long ball."
Right.
And then all of a sudden it became clear that the players were all juiced.
Of course.
So they've gotten rid of maybe the juiced
Players. But now we still have the juiced up ball.
the juiced ball, and
Yeah.
the players that speak about this say it's it's not even up for debate. The ball is different,
Yes.
and the home run records are just falling by
If
the
you-
wayside,
if
and
you
the
took a ball
strikeout records too. How about this? We've had a game this year. I think it was the Brewers won a game where they had 24 strikeouts.
Oh, yeah.
They struck out 24 times
Right.
and won the game.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things that are taking place in baseball are unreal. But the
They-
Brewers are 58 and 39, or Braves, I mean, Brewers are 50 and 47 behind the Cubs at 52 and 44. Cardinals 48 and 46. Dodgers fall to 64 and 35. That would be, I guess, the best record, most wins at least. Diamondbacks, the only other team out west above 500, 49 and 47. So you got the Nats and the Phillies. Brewers are the three teams to beat right now. Cardinals and Diamondbacks are a little ways behind them, but not that far back actually. So there's about 5 teams in the mix.
Because getting back to the ball, there was an article within the last week about it, right? They said the ball from like say 2 years ago is much lighter than it was.
So the ball right now they say is harder and
Yeah.
smaller.
Right.
Smaller?
It's small. It's smaller in the way of its diameter.
how could they do that?
Inside, the inside core is smaller, but not so much. It's the ball is still the same size because you can look at the balls. The balls are exactly the same.
Stitching tighter.
Yes.
But guys say this isn't the baseball I played with.
No.
Teixeira recently said that. He said it's completely different baseball than what I played with. Rick Sutcliffe as well.
And the bats are just as bad. The bats
And the
they
pitchers
say,
are all saying, the thing the pitchers say, it's not, I mean, the home run totals are crazy. Verlander's given up a ton this year, probably more than he's ever given up. They're giving up a ton, but it's also the distance.
Yeah.
Every home run that is hit, except at Yankee Stadium, which are all those short porch ones.
Of course.
All the home runs that are hit are going 450, 480.
I know.
They're
So
no
you-
doubters.
So-
But they also said the thing to look at, the pitchers say, is the guys who are light hitters, they hit a ball now and they bust it out of the box because they think it's a double.
Right.
They don't think they've hit a home run, and then they get past first and they look up and the ball has sailed out of the ballpark.
And they're looking
and that
like-
has something to do with the baseball, not the fact that these guys can hit more.
But they say the bats this year are having more.
Yeah, there's talk about the bats as well.
Yeah, because they said the bats are breaking. They're when you hit a ball, if it hits on the plate,
bat?
On the edge, it either shatters or it's
Right. So speaking of anniversaries, we will mention 20 years ago, David Cohn, Perfection in the Bronx.
Yes.
So I'm sure they're celebrating that in the doubleheader from at the Yankee Stadium today. How many former Mets made it to the Bronx and won titles? I know some of my former Red Sox did as well. So
Yes.
it's like, what's with the Yankees? Why did they steal all the the local team's players.
Well, hey, we have to mention one who's had some.
Your boy Doc.
Yeah, he's had a little problem again.
Well, we knew he had trouble when he didn't show up at the Westerners breakfast.
Right.
Was that last year?
That was last year.
Tim Tuffle did the pincher?
2
years ago.
And he's had some more issues again.
Doc can't stay clean.
No.
British Open got underway today, and tough conditions at the Royal Port Rush. They said it was going to be probably poor weather most of the weekend at the Open. I guess you don't even call it the British Open anymore or the Open Championship.
Right.
You just call it the Open.
What happened?
J.B. Holmes, an American, is the leader at the end of the day, -5.
Right.
Some other names of note: Sergio Garcia -3, tied with Tommy Fleetwood and Brooks Koepka. This guy's unbelievable, Koepka. He's just in every tournament, every major. He's putting himself in good position. Lee Westwood is at -3 also. Justin Rose -2. Ricky Fowler -1 with Spieth and Day at -1. But the story, Scotland's favorite son, Rory McIlroy, triple bogey on the first, finished +8 on the day. And Phil Mickelson, also a nightmare at +5, and Tiger Woods +7. So it's been downhill since the Masters for Woods.
Yeah.
And he's complaining about his physical condition a lot since then. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Whatever. You won the freaking Masters, and
what do
now
you
you're
want?
just
You
crying
want
about your
everything?
body, and you're falling apart, and you haven't played really any matches since. So British Open got underway. That's fresh on the heels of Wimbledon.
Yes.
So Great Britain's got a couple things going on, which is on the heels of the Women's World Cup, which was in France, and the Tour de France also going on. But Wimbledon, wow. I actually worked on Sunday, but I was able to have the match on, men's final, while I was working. So it was pretty good to have that on. And it filled up most of my day because it took 5 hours to get it done. And I had it on my phone. My battery was running down. I had 5% left as they're heading into the tiebreak. I'm like, am I going to miss the end?
Is it ever gonna
Unbelievable.
end?
And I still cannot believe Federer lost this match. Djokovic wins the first set in a tiebreak, third set in a tiebreak, and the fifth set in a tiebreak after the new rule, which says if you go to 12, they go to a tiebreak. So first time they had that in place. So he wins at 13-12 in the fifth set, winning only in tiebreaks, and Federer won in the second and third, 6-1 and 6-4.
Right.
And he fell behind in the third set, got broken in the fifth, and it looked like it was going to be Djokovic, but then he broke him back, which forced them to go extra, and then he broke Djokovic again and had the serve on his racket up 40-15, 2 championship points on his racket. Djokovic won 4 straight points, which set them back at 8-8, and they ended up at 12-12. Djokovic wins the tiebreak in the epic fifth set. I mean, even though he lost, I still have to say Federer, unbelievable. At this age, his prime was 8-9 years ago. And he beat Nadal in the semi and goes toe-to-toe with Djokovic. And it's worth mentioning, Djokovic is climbing the ladder, trying to chase him and pass him as the all-time most Grand Slams. Djokovic is not a one-trick pony, but he has padded his stats by winning many, many Australian Opens, which was not a tournament that many players mentioned. If you listened, you heard McEnroe say he only played the Australian 5 out of 15 years.
Right.
Connors only played once.
I know.
Bjorg never played the Australian. So back in the day, Australian was not a big deal. Now these guys go down there, and Djokovic has made the most of it, getting about, I'm not sure exactly how many, 6, 7, or 8.
Something like that.
But he has definitely padded his stats by winning that and putting him in position to maybe be the all-time greatest if you just count how many Grand Slams he's won. But it is a different deal, and you have to take that in consideration. But it was worth mentioning, and Serena Williams really fell apart in the final against Simona Halep, who was on her game. 6-2, 6-2. It was over in less than an hour.
I know. That was the quickest.
Thank goodness that wasn't the day I was doing a side job on Sunday. I wouldn't have had anything to watch. It was over before I was done with coffee and breakfast Saturday morning. Serena, whoa, 6-2, 6-2. Halep gets her second major Grand Slam. Great day for her. Women did win that World Cup. It was anticlimactic. I felt it was anticlimactic mostly because of the fact that all the crucial games came down to penalty kicks, and the penalties that were called in the box were all weak penalties.
Yeah.
But they did beat the Netherlands 2-0. They did take down basically all of Europe. They beat England, they beat Sweden, they beat Spain. So hats off to them for winning. But I did think, really, every time there was a penalty in the box, and that's how they won a bunch of these games,
Right.
they were weak penalties that should not have been called. They had nothing to do with whether or not a player was about to get positioned to score a goal.
Right.
It did not take away any scoring chances, and I just don't see how you decide games that way, where you set a penalty kick up when there was no chance, nothing in play for a player about to score and a chance being taken away. That was a big day for soccer. The women complained about it vehemently that they played in the morning, and then it was Copa America in the afternoon with Brazil beating Peru. First time Brazil's won a major tournament in a while. And then at night, USA fell to Mexico 1-0. The interesting thing about Copa that I found interesting was Argentina lost to Brazil in the semi, and Messi complained vehemently, said it was an outrage which took place with the referees. And then coming back in the consolation game, the third place game, what did the referees do? They gave him the red card.
Yeah.
You're out of here, Messi. Kicked him out. I thought that was interesting. Tour de France is underway. Maybe we'll mention that a little bit more next week because we haven't really followed it at all. There is a Frenchman leading, an Englishman, a Colombian on the top three. NBA, we only got about 30 seconds left. Kemba Walker, the former Husky great, goes to Boston, and I think that'll be a great move for him, taking place, replacing Kyrie, who the Celtic fans wanted out the door halfway through last season. But how about that? The Nets get Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Durant, of course, won't play for another year.
Right.
And the Clippers get Kawhi instead of the Lakers. The fake show thought they had him, but he says no, forces the Thunder to trade Paul George to the Clippers. So George and Kawhi go to the Clippers, and then Westbrook joins up with Harden in Houston. So big shakeup in the NBA with a lot of big players moving around, and the Knicks on the outside looking in. Unbelievable.
So everybody have a good weekend. Please stay healthy.
Stay cool out there and stay hydrated, and make sure your animals are cool as well.
Yes.
Don't leave them in the cars, people. Get them out and just keep them in the air conditioning. All right. We'll see you next week.
She's that dream of my desire. She's the one fueling my fire. She's standing there wanting lust fills the air. I feel hesitant, but waiting just ain't part of my master plan. Do you feel